All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. This is Alex here for the Grow Alex channel. Today, we are going to be talking about the eBay business and the eBay store and how it's been going so far. It's been a couple weeks since the last upload. So, for today's video, what we are going to be doing is we're going to be talking about pretty much the performance of the store in January, some good sales, some good finds, some problems that we ran into, and how we handled them, and things that you can expect as an eBay seller. Different problems you might run into, such as say, issues with customers or finding items to sell or sourcing items or what to do or how to ship items and all that. So we will be going into for today's video just mainly things we sold on eBay in January 2019 and different things that we ran into that were interesting to see and to learn from. All right, so I'll be showing you all here what we have. All right, and we are also live as well. So during live stream, if you do see the video, please feel free to comment or write anything you might like. All right, so we are going to be going through everything that's just for the month of January. All right, so beginning of the year, also as a heads up, we've also been tracking how the store's been doing. And for the last 2 months, it's not been growing. It's been not as good recently, but we had some okay sales here and there. So first thing, which was a lot of stuff here. Um, some stuff we source from Goodwill. Some source is just things we get from donations as well. But this was something we had as a donation. We had this was a Dell computer printer ink. This was sort of a weird thing. Was we had somebody give this, it was basically old printer ink. But what's weird is that one thing we've noticed is that this year, 2019, a lot of shipping companies have raised the cost of postage. So, because the cost of postage has gone up, we don't know if buyers are aware of that, and have to assume that they're not. So, because of that, that kind of gives a little bit of challenge to setting prices of things, and on one end, you might not need to worry about it, but it depends on how your store is set up, especially if you have items that say you're selling and then you have free shipping. You have to take that into consideration as well. So that's something that's a little bit of a new challenge we have to work with. But still, we have here printer ink we sold for $4, three or so after taxes and all that. So yeah, that was an okay find. Then we had a Hot Wheels toy car, which I am surprised we sold it for this month much. Because literally it's just a toy car we had a donation for, and I found out afterwards a lot of them they just sell for like $1 at your local store. Some stores they do sell for more than $1. But I had a guy tell me that hey, you could just go to Walmart buy them for $1. But I'm not sure. It kind of depends, I guess, where you are. So this one we sold for $1 and after tax about $1.50 or so perhaps. And the buyer was from Puerto Rico, so we had to fill out custom forms and all that. But it was an okay sell. It's just some little change there. All right. Then we had origami paper that we had as a donation. Um, Sold that for $2. We had a person probably was a collector or something, or they liked the designs on this, so it was something we had an okay deal for. Um, for pricing, I mean, a lot of the items, especially like the last two items that we just sold, our last couple, those are items that we did not immediately sell. We had them up in the store for a while, and then after a while, we do decrease the prices of items that don't sell. And I mean, pretty much these were prices that we were okay with, and that the buyers were good with. Um, I mean, on one end, they weren't great, but these were items that we were kind of more in a hurry to get rid of. All right, so the next one, another item, Taylor Swift CDs. It was a music CD we had. Where did we get this from? I think this was from maybe Goodwill. Depending on your stores, some of them you can get for really cheap prices. I think we got these for like maybe 50 cents or something like that. But this was a little bit of a slow sell as well. We had them at $5, then we had 4, 3, and eventually we sold it for 2. All right, and then I think we used like media mail or something. SIM case with this Frank Sinatra CD. I mean, all these CDs are like pretty much, well, a lot of them are kind of brand new in some ways, some of them are not. I mean, this one was like $1. I mean, this one was one of the ones that took forever to sell. Um, then we have our Heroescape toy figurines, which we talked a little bit about before. Um, this was one Heroescape figure that I wasn't happy that I sold for $5 because I thought I would be able to get a lot more, like perhaps at least 10 to 20. But because it was in our store for such a long time, we went ahead and decided to sell for 5. So that wasn't something we really were crazy about. Um, but we went ahead and went with that. Then we went on a little bit of a trend in selling women's clothes that we had as a donation. Um, and you have to kind of be careful with some of the brands because you never know if they'll sell or not. This one was a lucky sale, what I call lucky sale, because we sold it for a lot more than what we thought we were going to get. We didn't know anything about the brand, but we decided to, just do some research, and we put this on the higher end. And it kind of sounds like this would be some high-end brand, but I don't know the brand at all. But we sold it for 17 bucks on eBay, and it was good. So we did that, and then another shirt, Croft and Barrel women's shirt. We sold this one for 7, and it was a nice one, um, nice cotton shirt. Then we sold a Banana Republic shirt. Well, what we've noticed recently is some of the Banana Republic shirts take a while to sell, and we've been getting a lot of people putting in lower end offers recently. And depending on the shirt, we sometimes go ahead and do sell it for a lower end price because we want to move inventory. This one we sold for 8, I think. Yeah. And then the next thing that we had was a TV adapter box that we received as a donation. The first time we sold this, we didn't know anything about the box at all. The first buyer, and actually we don't have it here, but I think this is the good buyer. First buyer we sold it to was a guy. Um, let's see if I can find it here. Go messages. We had a guy who purchased the item, and he did not pay for the item, and we weren't sure why he wasn't paying for it. And we had like a week pass, and then the buyer uh, randomly messages us. If I can find it here. I think this is it. Let's see here. So we had a random message from this guy, um, and we didn't know what the guy was really saying because we were just selling it just the box. We didn't say include anything else, but we just let the buyers, and we did a good job. We wrote no remote or anything like that. Um, so the buyer says, I can buy that item if I don't know even where is the power source that don't show up in the graph feed. We weren't sure what this meant. Um, I mean, after a while, we kind of thought that the buyer was saying they don't know where the power source is that doesn't show up in the photographs, but we weren't. I mean, even if this is what that person was implying with this message, what concern did it had to us because the buyer at this point did not pay for the item. So we kind of left it alone and we waited, and then we sent a payment reminder to the buyer. Buyer was like, "Hey, you still don't answer my question. I would like to know if the power cord is included or onto." So at this point, I had figured out the person didn't really. Well, we were thinking the buyer, wasn't too good with English, but we weren't really, going to assume that. But um, we replied to the message, and we said the item was just a adapter box that is included listing as per photographs that had been included. Then he writes, "Is worthless for me. No deal without power cord." So at this point, the buyer is demanding something that was not in the listing, which is not good for us and per eBay standards. So we called eBay up at that point, and the customer service was really nice and did help us. And basically, it's like, hey, the buyer bought the item because they bought it. They were, kind of like in a contract to buy it, and they should have, known beforehand too. And it's not our concern to be providing something that's not per the listing. Because how are we supposed to know? Maybe the buyer already has a cord. They're trying to get another cord. You never know. Um, so you never know. You do get some weird people here and there. Another Heroescape figurines. And another thing we started to notice is a lot of figurines would list them at maybe $5, $10, or larger ones for around maybe 10 to 20. And a lot of them have not been selling, so we've been dropping the price down a lot. This one sold for $349. Little like Bowman, the guy here. And I'll say this again. Um, when you're shipping these little toy figurines, especially these ones that come with like a collectible trading card, you have to be careful. Usually we ship them in like a box. And the thing is that if you don't ship them in something that protects it from being crushed, they will likely be crushed. When we first started long time ago, we did have an incident where we had to help a buyer because the item was damaged. Then we sold a random book for $1. A lot of our books have not been selling recently, so we've dropped them incredibly in their price. This one was for $1. This was a textbook. Now the thing is with textbooks, we often get good prices on them. Usually, some of them we don't. This one was a good one. We sold for 17, which was good for us because first time we sold it for $10, and the buyer ended up never paying for those $10. Well, this buyer went ahead and bought it for 17 and immediately paid, and they were happy with the book, and we're happy too. Now the next item is Van Heusen. We have been very cautious with this brand. Sometimes this brand sells okay, sometimes it's not. More often than not, it doesn't do great. So we tend to stay away from it, but it's not as something I would say is completely bad. It's kind of like if you're looking, like if you want to get this brand, at this point, I'm thinking this brand is more of a quick sell, as in try to price it more on the lower end so that it sells faster. So that's what we're thinking about that. Now the next one, we did sell some more Heroescape figurines, which were about $3-4 or so each. This one was a good one. This was we didn't expect this, but we sold one for $8, which was probably one of our closer to our original price that we wanted for it. So that was a good sale. Then we sold Izod. Izod is another one that's like Van Heusen, but we're kind of like avoiding this too. This was a shirt that we thought we were going to do okay on, but we never did. And we did have this shirt up for a while on our store, so that's why we went ahead and sold it for $5. And then we had some good sales here. We had Banana Republic good sales. We had Tommy Bahama good sales. Brooks Brothers good sales. Um, and buyer bought two Tommy Bahamas together for 37, and buyer was happy with them. And so this is a brand that we are looking at currently. Banana Republic, we sold these two for 28, which we're okay for. So it's more to what we were looking for shirts instead of selling them from like under 10. Um, Brooks Brothers, this one was okay. We thought we were going to get more for them, but we went ahead and just sold them to move inventory. Ties, this was a good tie that we sold it for $6. We do see ties going all across the charts and prices. Some sell really cheaply, like $5 or less. Some sell 5 or 10, which was the case for this. But we had an incident once where we sold one tie for $20, and a lot of ties you can either usually get pretty cheaply under $5. Some of them we do receive as donations, while we sometimes we're able to go to stores and get them for $3 or even less. Let's see, Brooks Brothers for 15. Women's shirt, Croft and Barrel, we sold it for $7. So this is about a $7 shirt brand. Another book we sold cheap price, Celine Dion CD for $1. Banana Republic shirt. We had a weird history with this shirt. Um, this is the second time we had sold this shirt. The first time we sold it, the buyer didn't like the shirt for some weird reason, and we had a whole problem with that. And then the buyer shipped the item back, and we originally sold it for $20. I think that's what it was. No, we originally sold it for, I think, less than 20. I don't remember for sure, but I think it was less. But it wasn't really a big loss because we did have to pay for shipping and all that. But after selling it again for 16, we made all of our money back that we had lost and some. So it was an okay sale. Um, then we sold a coat, which was an okay sale. We didn't know anything about this brand. We received the coat as a donation. Um, we had it up for, I think, originally for $20, and we had to relist it several times. So we eventually sold it for uh, for $9, which is okay. Abercrombie, Abercrombie and Fitch was a brand that we got. We're trying out different brands. We had this shirt forever on our store, and eventually sold for about $6. Brooks Brothers tie was a good sale. We sold it for 13, which is on our upper end of what we usually sell ties for. Hawaiian shirts, we're starting to kind of do some research into them because we've noticed they are going up. This Josie Banks shirt, we didn't think we would sell it for this much, but we did. Actually, take that back. Yeah, we sold it for 15, which was fine with us. So another book. This was a weird buy because the buyer had to pay some additional tax, which I mean, it didn't affect us, but that's what they paid. Then we saw the NES games. NES games, we find that they're kind of tough to sell sometimes. This one was something we sold for $3.99, which was fine. Usually they sell for $3 to $5 minimum. All right, this was a weird brand we didn't know anything about. Sold for 5, random brand. Talbot's shirt was an okay sell. We thought this was going to. We didn't know what this was going to sell for. We put a high price on, received an offer we were good with, and we went for the 15. Ralph Lauren. This is a brand that randomly does okay. Sometimes they do bad, sometimes they do good. This one was an example of a good time. We sold it for $16.99. I'll come back to this shirt later because we're still trying to resolve this. This is a weird incident. Brooks Brothers, we sold this for 14. Um, then we had two issues with these sets of items. This was an item that we um, sold, buyer paid for, but we made a mistake on our end as seller. We found out that this shirt had an issue with it, so we canceled the transaction, refunded the buyer, even though we did lose out on the shipping. And also, I think we also had a problem with the sale price as well. So, but in general, I don't. This is not a brand I would go out to buy. Walter Hagen. For selling on eBay, we don't know much about it, so it's something that we would try to avoid for now. And then this was an example of a book that we can't believe we sold it for $1 because we thought it was going to be worth more, especially since it was signed by the author as well, and we had evidence that it was signed. But nobody would buy the book for any price that we had it, and eventually we sold it for $1. Um, Another book. This one was a good sale. Picked this up for less than $5 at Goodwill. We sold it for 30, which was an awesome sale. More Heroescape. We had a lot of, and then around this time we were out of our free or our store subscription and fixed price listings. So when we had that, we decided to start doing auctions on our items, and we were getting okay sales. Some were good, some were bad, some we're not sure about. Um, which we had first this Heroescape, which was okay. We went ahead and shipped that. Um, then we had two items that we sold but have not received payment for yet, and since today is February 1st, it's been like 3 or 4 days now. And we had sent them payment reminders and invoices, so we're not sure what's going on with these two. Um, Basically, if they don't pay by the 2nd, we're probably going to open up an unpaid item case, which we did with this. And the buyer still hasn't paid for it. This one was a bet. I'll start with this. This was a good sale. We got a donation. It had some hats for a donation. Sold it for 7, which was good. This one was something that we maybe made like $1 or $2 off of it, and we're not happy that we made that much, but we went ahead and did it just to move in inventory. So this was a brand new with tags Calvin Klein shirt. We had them up. I think we had this originally for maybe even like $20 or so. Then we kept lowering the price to, like 16, 17, 15 to 14, 12, 10, 9, 7, 6, 5. So we basically sold this for $5.99. And I mean, it's something we weren't really happy about, but things happen. But we decided to go ahead and sell it because we were trying to move inventory. So that was an okay one. We sold Heroescape, and then recently we had a buyer who bought a lot of our coins. We had a donation of different items, and then this was one of the things. But yeah, we had a buyer who bought all that. So now back to the items that we had issues with. Right, so the first one that we had issues with, and I'm just looking through. So we talked about the electronics issue. That's solved now. We basically resold the item, and we sold it for more than what we originally sold it for. And this was basically an unpaid item case incident, but this buyer is good and they're happy. The next incident that we had, we talked a little bit about this shirt. Basically, we resold the shirt and made our money back. This was a return that we basically fixed. So I'll leave this towards the end. So yeah, this one was issued on our end. We refunded the buyer. Buyer was fine with it, and they left us good feedback. This buyer had bought 2 shirts, paid for one, and we didn't know why they only paid for one and not the other. And then eventually they messaged us saying, hey, they made a mistake on the second shirt. They only want to buy the first one. So we said fine, and we canceled the second order. That was that. This guy bought the shirts, didn't pay for it, and then randomly sent us a message, hey, do you ship to Brazil? And we were really confused on our end why the buyer had sent that, because the buyer, for our understanding, resides in the US. But he does have a Yahoo Brazil account by the looks of it. So we're not sure what happened, but we sent them payment reminders, sent them this and that because the address on file was in the US. But the buyer never paid for the item, and we have an unpaid item case opened on them. Let's see what the next incident. These two are kind of pending right now. We don't know what's going to happen. The buyers haven't paid for it, but we're hoping the buyers pay for it and everything gets delivered without any issues. And then also this one here, so the most recent one. We sold Patagonia shirt that we received as a donation. Uh, Everything's fine. The shirt, the original person who had it never wore it, and they said that they originally bought it as a like a lot, and they didn't like this color set, so they gave it to us as a donation. And we sold the shirt for $20. Um, and we were fine with the shirt. The buyer, I think, got everything that they needed. And they received the shirts several days ago. We just received a message from the buyer today saying that they received the item, and that they apparently just opened the shirt now. And they say definitely not new, in fact, very worn. There are actually worn bare spots around along the collar. Kind of surprising for new without tags. And we were, you know, being professional about it. We ended up writing to the, what did we write? Hello, thank you for messaging us. We apologize for the inconvenience and would like to help. We're not sure how the item became worn as per your description. Were you looking to keep or return the item? If you'd like to keep the item, we can send you a partial refund to you. We have checked the listing and we did not see any wear, so we believe that it is possible that the item may have been damaged during shipping with the postal company. Was the collar the only area that you had noticed? Please message us back so we can help satisfy you. So we did also have an order that happened recently as well, which was really weird. We had a buyer who bought like pants from us, almost like scrubs. If I can find it here. And we received them as a donation. And with all of our clothing, we don't sell anything that has tears or holes or anything worn. We look for items that have at least a reasonable standard level of wear. Basically, if you wouldn't wear them, why would you buy them? Type of idea. Um, I don't know where I saw them recently here. Yeah, well, there's somewhere here. Basically, the buyer had purchased scrub pants, and they claimed that, oh, they're worn, they stink of perfume, this and that, and you know, and it's a big issue. You don't know if they're telling the truth or not. We often think that we want to give them a like reasonable doubt, but we don't sell items that are damaged or have any kind of issues with them. So we often wonder what could have happened. And on one incident, we did find out that the postal company did um, damage the item during shipping. So we always wonder if that's a possibility. But with that buyer, we are basically trying to see what we can do to resolve the issue. With the other buyer, with the pants, what ended up happening was that we agreed upon doing a partial refund. They bought it for like $9, and we settled on giving the buyer partial refund, and they ended up getting $4 back, so they only paid $5 for the pants, and they were happy, and we resolved it. We're not sure what's going to happen with this buyer. We're going to kind of take a look into it. Um, and yeah, pretty much that is what we have for what sold in January. So those are kind of a quick summary. We are definitely trying to grow our business. Um, and we have all kinds of different items for sale. We have clothing is our big one that we have right now. We have a lot of books. But right now we are trying to cut down on the books because we find that the books in general are not selling well. And most of our books now are really cheap, like $1. Plus, and you just pay for the shipping. But yeah, this is incredibly cheap, I think. And we just have it at this price because we're just trying to get rid of our books. But you do have some textbooks on the higher end, and they're not too expensive either. Especially when you get books that often sell for over 100. I've seen books that sold for 300 before. So these are all great deals. Another thing that we are trying to get into is selling artwork because we've noticed that there are artists on eBay that do make a business on selling their artwork. And since I am an artist, I'm trying to do that as well. But we're not sure how that's going to go. And so right now we're just testing the waters on it. But we're thinking that we just need to put in more artwork online. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I do plan to make another video talking more about the artwork. But if you're curious in seeing what we have in store, pretty much it is eBay.com, user Alex Mac Shop. Luxury items for luxury buyers. And we have all kinds of different things. We have a lot of toys, video games, collectibles, music, DVDs, electronics. We're trying to get more into electronics, but we're not sure how that's going to go. And then artwork is something we're probably going to increase recently, but we're going to see how business goes with that. So thank you all for stopping by. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, share and subscribe for more, and we will give you all an update to see how February goes. Thank you all. Have a good day. Bye now.